Good morning, everyone. So today at Orinoco Tribune, we have the great Teri Mattson from Code Pink. Uh, she is a well-known journalist, communicator, human rights activist, and the host of the show, What the F is Going On in Latin America and the Caribbean, that is transmitted every Wednesday in the evening. So welcome, Miss Mattson. Good evening. What happened in Colombia before the first round of the presidential elections in May? Teri Mattson was in Colombia on the 22nd of May, and then she was deported the next day by Colombian authorities, calling her a threat to the nation or something like that. So we'll be talking about it, and I'll also ask her opinion about the second round of the elections that will be happening within a few hours. So, Ms. Mattson, you were there on 22nd, you were like at the airport, then you were detained, and then you were deported. So what exactly happened? How were you treated? Why did they do it? What reason did they give?
Well, first of all, I should say thank you so much for the invitation to join you in today's broadcast. It's really a pleasure to meet you. I enjoy reading your work with Orinoco Tribune, and a big shout out to Jesus and this fantastic project that he leads along with you. So it's really a pleasure to be invited to speak with you. So I guess and to finally meet you too, or at least for Zoom. I will start with May 22nd. I had joined a delegation, an election observation delegation out of Toronto, Canada, and I was really, really excited about being accepted on that delegation because everyone who was accepted and participated had previous election observation experience. And in some cases invited by human rights organizations, social movements, and in many cases, including myself, invited by the formal electoral body of a number of countries throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. So everyone was well qualified on that trip, and I would say myself as well. I've been an election observer throughout the Americas for about 10 years now, and in the past 14 months I've been to Venezuela, Nicaragua, Honduras, Ecuador, Mexico, and a couple others. So we, I was really excited. I also wanted to go back this year because I have been in Colombia last year, late May, on a human rights delegation, and we went to observe at the request, by the way, of several members of the Colombian Congress. We came to observe the conditions on the ground in Colombia throughout the country during the Paro Nacional. So when I arrived on May 22nd, I think it was like 7 or 8 in the morning, I arrived at El Dorado International Airport, which is in Bogota, and approached the immigration desk, showed my passport, and the female officer looked at it at the computer screen, and whatever she saw made her pass my passport to the immigration officer or second person sitting behind her, which was different. The immigration booths in El Dorado and there's an officer standing, and then there's someone sitting at a desk right behind her. So it's like a two-tiered immigration booth. So my passport was handed to the gentleman sitting behind her. And he flipped through my passport page by page, and then suddenly stood up and said, "Miss Mattson, come with me now," and led me down a hall to some formal offices while we were walking down the hall. He said, "How long were you planning to stay in our country?" And I said, "I'll be here. I'm joining an election observation delegation. I'll be here through the 1st of June. My airline ticket is for the 1st of June." And he brought me into this set of offices, had me sit down in the common area, never took my phone, never took my laptop, never took my carry-on bag, never asked me to shut any of my devices off. I was just, to sit there. I had I didn't really have an interview. There was some questioning. I was never asked if if I would prefer the questions to be in English or Spanish. That was never an option. All communication was in Spanish. So I was asked what I was doing there. I said I was, there as a journalist, human rights observer, and election observer. They questioned my immigration form. On the state immigration form, there's very few options to declare why you're entering the country. And so election observers were advised to check tourist. There is no option to say you're entering the country as a human rights observer, as an election observer. And so that was a problem for the immigration officers, that I had checked tourist when I was there as an election observer, although my understanding is everyone that was there as an election observer did the same. I was also asked if I had hotel reservations. I had the delegation I was participating had 3, Bogota, Cali, and Buenaventura. The immigration officers called all 3 hotels to make sure the delegation was staying there and that I was actually registered as part of the delegation. And that's about it. As intense as the questioning got. I was asked where I lived and a few other, minor things. And then after about an hour, I was asked to approach a table where the female immigration officer was standing behind it, the gentleman next to me. And then behind her was this big copier, a professional copier, like something you could print a book on. So she begins to tell me I'm not going to be able to enter the country, and here's why. She says, the Colombian government is denying you entry to the country. She puts this document down in front of me, and she says, we're denying you entry because you are a threat to the state of Colombia and perceived as a threat to national sovereignty. And up until that point, I had been, fairly calm. Yeah, you're a little fidgety when it starts taking a while. But you can imagine being told you're a threat to the state. It was, wow. So I'm like, what is this about? They wouldn't answer any questions that I had regarding their decision. I will say, with the document they showed me in the upper right-hand corner, I was identified as an Argentine national. I was not born in Argentina. I've never become a naturalized citizen of Argentina. I've never had an Argentine passport. I have a U.S. passport. My U.S. passport clearly says inside I was born in Burlington, Vermont. So I'm not sure where that came from. So they identified me as an Argentine national and with U.S. residency. And then the only thing in English on the form was that I was being denied entry because I was a threat to the security of the state. And then I was asked to sign this form. And under the signature, which of course I wouldn't do simply because I was identified incorrectly. But then, of course, being identified incorrectly and being deemed a threat to the state. On the signature line, underneath, it says that if the person refuses to sign and or is incapable of signing, the state can sign on his or her behalf. So, so of course, at that point, I'm identified incorrectly. I'm being, labeled as a threat to the state, and I'm, the state can sign on my behalf whether I sign or not. I refused to sign the form. Yeah. And at that moment, I thought, okay, this is maybe going to exacerbate the situation, and when I said no, the immigration officers, pretty much backed off. Their body language, everything. I said, this is not correct. And to me, it was astounding to be identified as an Argentine national, because with what little Spanish I do have, my accent is clearly not from Argentina. That's a very, very distinct accent that they have. And that is clearly not my Spanish. So with what little I have. So it was, it was pretty fascinating. It was startling. At